Talk today about my Duramax. I have a 2001 GMC Sierra 2500 HD regular cab, long bed, two-wheel drive. So it's a work truck package, manual window, manual locks, and I just want to give everybody what to expect, kind of a little rundown, how it drives, whatever, and also what to expect when you get a $2,500 Duramax. Okay. So I didn't pay much for this truck. I found it on Craigslist. No pictures were posted. Needed a lot of work. I just went out and picked it up, got it back over the course of a couple months, got it up running great, and now it's getting me 20 miles per gallon, and it's just a good work truck. I don't use it really for work per se. I just use it mostly for commuting, but it's good for that too, since it's a small truck, easy to park, 133-inch wheelbase. So part of me wants to get rid of it for a four-door, but for a run-around truck, it's kind of hard to beat, other than injector prices and some other parts that are kind of expensive. But so this is the truck as you see it right now. Is how I got it. You got some kind of dings and stuff here, a nice big old dent here, a dent here. The badges have clearly seen better days. It does have 355,000 miles. It has mixed match fender flares. This one is body color, which I wish they all were that color. The rest are, other three are very faded black. Makes me think that there's a problem or something with the right front at some point, but the title's clean and clear, and there's nothing to suggest that it's been hit in the front. Nothing's out of place or unevenly bigger gaps here and then the other side, nothing like that. But it's a work truck package, as you see in the bed. The previous owner told me that his son was actually the one driving it to college, so that's why might be why it's got high mileage. I bought it at 355,000. Clearly, as you see, this marks here. Whoever owned it, there's a little bit of a weight dent kind of in the middle. You see on the tailgate, something heavy was sitting right there. Something was sitting here. Being from the north, my first impressions was something like a salt spreader or something, but this probably was like a lift gate. I'm guessing a lift gate for a truck or something, but I don't know. I don't really care though, because I paid $2,500 for it. I didn't even pop the hood when I went and bought it. I just looked at the truck and I was like, holy cow, that is clean. And I just paid him money and loaded it on the trailer. Drove it on the trailer too for $2,500. Probably not the smartest move when you're dealing with an engine and transmission that's that expensive, but it fired up and I paid him. That's pretty much my extent of, because it's so clean. Look, this side's like nearly perfect. Dent here. Door handles are quite faded. As you see down here, I bought it from Alabama. It looks like compared to my other vehicles from North Carolina and Georgia, this truck noticeably has more rust, but it's all surface rust. So if it wasn't a rusty area, it might have been just from being by the beach or something down there where the salt is, because as you see, the frame down here is really clean, pretty nice. The only thing I've done, I've already installed new headlights, because when I got the truck, everything was black, like someone had a really weird rattle black paint job on it that was hardcore peeling and fading. So I just took oil. What I did, I used a heat gun and diesel fuel, and it started wiping it off the paint. So a heat gun and diesel fuel, and it cleared up the chrome from the paint. Then I installed these lights. Got them from protuninglab.com. I think they're like 150 bucks. I do have them wired up for the LED, or these to work as my running lights. So right now these are not operational because I cut the wires and wired them straight into this. Eventually I'll move them to both be turn signals, but I haven't done it yet. But yeah, so my plan, I'm gonna get new paint for this and this piece. I think I'm keeping the chrome, not sure. This is all depending on how I keep the truck. I'm kind of, I might sell it and find me another, kind of want a 4-door 6.5 diesel again, like a single rear wheel K3500. So if you got one you want to trade, let me know. But this is a good truck. There's a couple holes right here. This big one is a factory hole. These 4 little guys are not. Not sure what those are for. Probably for whatever was also potentially bolted through that. But this tire is here because I think somebody lost the key. There's a key right there, and my key does not work for it. So as you can see right there, as you can see right here, it's been cut. So I need to see if it's even possible for me to get one of these to redo it so I can put the spare tire back where it's supposed to go, because that would be cool. But as you can see, a nice 11.5 rear end with disc brakes. And let me tell you, compared to my 6.5 K1500 that you've seen in a couple of the other videos, this thing stops great. It stops really well. Now, let me talk about why this truck was $2,500. Okay, as you can see, it wasn't the interior. The interior was in great. I think I had to find one of these that was missing. But the interior, otherwise I haven't touched. The dash is clean. I mean, this is the driver's seat, getting a little worn right here, but there's a rip somewhere right here. That's it. But I mean, shoot, for $2,500, like I said, I looked at it and I just paid him and left. So this back seat, I need a new rod that goes through that, but otherwise that's great. As you can see, he wired up blue lights for the door. Same with the blue light up there. Headliner's great. Everything's manual. Windows locks. He did put, there's some very good speakers in here. The sound system actually sounds pretty good. So if I keep it for any length of time, I will probably add a small subwoofer to complement the sound of the speakers, because they're very clear. So probably his son, who was in college, probably was the one who did that. I have a scan gauge 2 from AutoZone, $150. Obviously it's not an Edge. It's not as good as having actual gauges, but it's enough to tell me fuel pressure readings and balance rates. So it served its purpose. It paid for me, because one of the things it needed, let's pop the hood. The hood's pretty good shape. A dent right here. But that's it on the hood. Okay, here's the engine bay. 355,000 miles I bought this at. So what did it need right from the start? It needed 2 batteries and an alternator, because either the batteries are dead or the alternator is dead. I drive a lot for my daily driver. I put 80 miles a day, so I was like, I'll just replace it. So I replaced both of them. It needed a belt tensioner pulley, because this thing was touching. These two were touching. That's how dead it was. And I replaced both idler pulleys. There was no cap on the power steering pump, and apparently you can't just buy a power steering pump cap, you have to buy a whole pump. So I found a new pump. As you can see, all these lines, I replaced 1, 2, 3 lines. Well, maybe I should cut that a little bit shorter, but I did all 3 lines, because 2 of them were leaking so bad. It was worse than most oil leaks some people have. The oil actually was good. It has no fuel in the oil. The injector, 3 of the injectors passed. We're kind of getting there around 3.0, but there's no smoke off the tailpipe. There's no smoke out the tailpipe, no fuel in the oil, runs fine, starts fine. But also the biggest problem that there was was that it sounded like the transmission was going bad, but actually it was 2 shot U-joints that were so crazy terrible that they definitely need replaced. So I had to do 2 U-joints, and the biggest thing, I noticed that I wasn't getting over 8,000 psi fuel pressure when I got it. It was a CP3. I put a new one on there while it was off, the rubber hoses. I even put on new fuel lines, the hard lines in the center, those 3 or 4, just for good maintenance, because one of them was getting a little rusty. And rebuilt the fuel filter head, because I heard that's also a problem with the Duramaxes or the LB7s. So I did that, and then I think that's it. And then she's running good now. So think power steering stuff, CP3, battery, alternator, belt tensioner pulley, U-joint. 6 things brought this price down to $2,500. Now I don't know how much I saved in labor by doing it myself and fixing it, but I would at least $1,500 shop labor that I saved by doing it myself. And that would have, you know, on top of the parts, I probably have to buy all those things is almost $2,000 more on top of what I paid for the truck. So I still have under $5,000 in this truck. So I could sell it, potentially make some money. Or more likely I'll probably get a good trade out of it and give somebody else a race truck, because this truck is primed for a race truck build, being a small little regular cab 2-wheel drive drag truck build. And I also like that it's 2-wheel drive. Why? Because that gives me less problems, and the front's a lot easier to work on because there's less in the way, and my turning radius is a lot better being 2-wheel drive. But this truck had a K&N filter. It has a PPE boost valve, but otherwise under the hood we are stock. Oh, the other thing it was doing that I had to get repaired when I got the truck, there was the classic hole in the charge pipe on the driver's side. So 7 things. 7 things were wrong that I had to fix when I got this truck, and now she's good to me, getting me 20 miles per gallon. Let's fire it up. Oh, one thing to note that you probably already saw earlier, he put on dual tips out the back, straight race truck like, and I only get 1 key, but that's fine. I'll go to the dealership and get another one made at some point, hopefully one that fits that little back thing. That would be cool. There are 2 things, one thing running wise that this truck might still concern somebody who is obviously looking for the most minty and crisp truck ever. This truck vents to atmosphere. I don't know what system it is, the CDR type system, but it vents to atmosphere on this LB7. It is a federal emissions. So as you can see, there is a hose that vents straight down instead of routing back into the intake like most trucks do these days, even including my 90s 6.5 truck. They all vent back into the intake. This one vents straight down. So I'll just show you that at 355,000 miles, it's starting to get older. You see that smoke? It actually is not. I'm gonna pop the dipstick real quick. So it's pretty steady coming out. It looks really bad, actually. because every now and then I'll be at a red light and you'll just see smoke rising up from places. It apparently is only there at idle when fuel pressure is 20 psi. When I'm driving, it's 60 psi, and at least when I've driven past windows and mirrors, I don't see anything there. As you see, some of it. I got the classic jiggly belt tensioner. I gotta figure out how to do that. I don't know what's wrong. But we're looking at blow-by. That's what we're looking at blow-by wise. And once I pop this cap, there's nothing there at all. So this is clearly the issue. It moves it a little bit. Most of that is from the rattling of the truck though. I don't think it's from the blow-by. But so it's still got yeah, I really think if this was perfectly smooth, that wouldn't move at all. It's really not that forceful, but like I said, it doesn't look that bad coming out the stick tube, but once it comes out the bottom, it looks really bad. So I'm not a mechanic per se. I don't know how bad of shape something is. Potentially could be just the rings. Could be. Oh, and there's no AC. There is heat. There's no AC, so that's a downside you get for a $2,500 truck. But I'll video this drive for you real quick for the start of it, just so y'all can see. But other than, if this truck had no blow-by, I would have had a major win. I think it was a win anyway for me. Now I have a pretty strong truck for not a lot of money. And especially for my uses, which is mainly commuting, it's great. But yeah, I don't know how long or what that means. Maybe diesel Duramax specialists would be able to have a better idea what's going on. I've heard it could be something with the injectors, O-rings or seals that are just letting a little bit of fuel in the wrong spot. Could just be piston rings. But either way, the truck runs great. Here it is desired fuel pressure 5,510. Actual, it's really close. It always stays. Sometimes it wiggles off like that. Sometimes it wiggles a little bit more. So, but it doesn't go very far. Maybe 200 psi difference, 300 psi difference. RPM, I've seen as high as 10 psi of boost from the turbo. Granted, I don't race truck drive this at all. Drive it like a grandpa. As you can see, there's the smoke. So sometimes it does look a little bit bad. But once I'm moving, there's no smoke coming out. I don't know what it does. Maybe something tightens up that you can't see when we're idling. But now I'm just driving to from work. I have a 38-mile commute to my job, and this gets the job done. And it wasn't expensive, so, and insurance is like nothing because it's 17 years old, and the title has been mileage exempt. So they can only assume it's got 1 million miles on it, and I pay liability insurance. I think it's $600 a year, or no, like $650 a year. It's $6 something a year for this truck, and it's definitely great shape for what I need it for. We'll get to the highway here in a second, and then we'll come back on.
It is smart.
So this truck is good daily for me. We'll give it a little bit of some drive time action. I think I gotta bleed the brakes and the brake fluid side. Obviously, when I put in the power steering pump, the power steering had to be bled, so that's all brand new. So that's good. I still got a slight touch, a little bit of throttle or brake play. But overall, this truck drives really nice. It looks bad, like I said, with a little bit of blow-by, maybe a lot of bit of blow-by. I don't know. Maybe I'll take it to one of the local diesel shops and have them look at it real quick, do a compression test and whatever else they can think of. But it runs really good, shifts good. I need to change the trans fluid, filter, and the diff fluid, because I don't know when any of those were done, just for good maintenance items. Otherwise, oh, and I need to go get an alignment. It's actually really good, but when I got the truck, I had to put 2 tires on it. Oh, that's another thing, knock off 2 tires off of the to-do list when you're getting a cheap Duramax. Put 2 tires on it, and the fronts were worn like crazy on the outer edge. Based on how it drives right now, I think someone just put a set of stock wheels back on it, because look, I'm holding it, let go of the wheel. It's pretty good, but I think Saturday I might go get I found an alignment shop that has alignments for $50, so I might go get that done. And but stock radio, cassette player, it's kind of weird. Kind of the cassette parts might be broken. At least the eject button is kind of broken, because if you press the eject button, it kind of tries to eject a tape for like a minute until it stops. But so I've put I'm closing in on 2,000 miles already driven on this truck. I think I've gone through 3 tanks of fuel. I get 500 miles per tank. Then I put in 25 gallons of fuel at roughly the quarter of a tank mark. I have driven it to a couple ticks below a quarter, and it's been fine. But I've heard the stories, so I've never taken it all the way down to E. Granted, it'll probably happen at some point, because I've only had it for a couple tanks of fuel. But this is it, guys. This is what you get. Learn to work with your hands. If you're young and you don't have any tools, get some. Teach yourself about cars, because I got a pretty good truck for not a lot of money, only because I was able to fix it myself and not have to pay somebody. So this is it. Hopefully we'll get a 3-inch drop kit, drop shackle in the back. I've already got cool wheels for it, so stay tuned if you want to see some cool wheels. 20s, 20 by 9s. Just gotta find some center caps for them, then I'll put them on. And then I already did the headlights, so for me, headlights, wheels and tires, a slight drop. That's gonna be it for me. And I need to get a lift, and I plan to keep it a while. I'm gonna get a lift pump and a tube. But that's probably going to be it until something big happens. Right. guys. Alright guys, we made it back to my house, or my apartment, and thanks for watching. Like I said, the deals are out there. If you can do your own work, the deals are definitely out there, especially on the two-wheel drives. I would love to get a broken, similar to this one, crew cab version of this. That'd be great. Actually, this one I'll probably sell at some point. Stay tuned to the channel though, because I might build it into something of a muscle truck, because it's kind of quick and it's very lightweight, not as small. Should be as light as a Duramax can get. I don't know if newer generations are getting heavier, or usually it seems that way. So it's an 01, but I don't know if you can see this, but see how there's smoke? Some people might think my motor's on fire, but it just depends on which way the wind blows it, left, right, whatever. But so just stay tuned to my channel. We might build this truck. I might get rid of it, get something else. Also, it might become a marketing tool if you're near Atlanta. Specifically the west suburbs, or no, east side suburbs, like Lawrenceville, up and around there. If you want to put your name all over my truck and you can pay me monthly, I've got a plan for that already. Just let me know and get in contact with me, and we'll figure something out. And that way, hopefully, we can help each other out. Well, this is it for today. Thanks for watching.